Hello students, hope you are doing good. Here we are discussing the second part of the fundamental unit of life. In the last lecture, we have discussed an important concept of osmosis. So we will begin with an activity which is discussed in your NCERT book on osmosis. So osmosis is the movement of water from high concentration to low concentration, right, through a semi-permeable or selectively permeable membrane. Now the first activity uses an egg. This you can do at home, but you require hydrochloric acid for this. What you do, you just remove the shell of the egg, the white shell, with the help of hydrochloric acid, and then you put this egg in pure water. Now here the pure water will act as hypotonic solution. Okay, now hypotonic solution, what it is, let us see over here once again. See, if this is the egg, okay, we have removed the shell, so this acts as a semi-permeable membrane, the membrane of egg. Now outside there is pure water, it will act as hypotonic solution, means the concentration of water is more, and here the concentration of water is less. Now where the movement will be there? Yes, from high to low, means the water will move from outside to inside of the egg. So the egg will swell, right? So this is how you can prove the concept of osmosis. Another activity which is given is osmosis with raisins. You can take the dried raisins or kishmish which might be there at your home, and you can put them in plain water for some time and leave it and just observe after a few hours. What you will see, again this plain water will act as hypotonic solution. So means the concentration of water is high outside and less inside. So the water will move from high to low, means inside the cell it will move, and then the raisins will swell. Now these swollen raisins, you shift them in a concentrated solution of sugar or salt. So this concentrated solution will act as hypertonic solution. Okay, so hypertonic solution means the water concentration is less and the solute concentration is more. So where the water will move, see, these are swollen raisins, we put it in concentrated solution. Here in the swollen raisins, the concentration of water is high, outside the concentration of water is low. So movement will be from high to low, means outside. So the cell is going to shrink, means the raisins will shrink. Next, coming to some important concepts, the plasma membrane is very much flexible as it is made up of lipids and proteins. Now to observe this structure of any plasma membrane, or you can see of any part of the cell, if you want to see the structure in detail, the compound microscope we generally use cannot be used for such purpose. So we use another microscope which uses electron as the source of energy. These are known as electron microscopes. So to observe detailed structure, we use electron microscope. Another concept is of endocytosis. Endo means inside, cytosis means cytoplasm or cell. So something is moving inside the cell. Here we are talking about amoeba, which takes up the food inside with the help of its pseudopodia, finger-like extensions. So it is taking up the food inside the cell through the process called as endocytosis, means it is engulfing the food particle inside the cell. Now next, coming to cell wall. What is cell wall? It is a rigid outer covering which is present in plant cells, in bacteria and fungus. Means we have talked about plasma membrane or cell membrane. The cell wall is present outside this plasma membrane or cell membrane, and it is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is polymer of glucose. Now this cell wall, it provides strength to the plant. It provides the structural strength to plants. Okay. Now let us look at important concept of plasmolysis. Just split the term. Plasma membrane, and lysis means breakdown, splitting up. So here actually shrinking of plasma membrane is happening. Now how? Just see this diagram. When a plant cell is kept in hypertonic solution, what happens? See, this is the cell wall and this is the cell membrane. So here you can see in hypertonic solution, where the concentration of water is less, what will happen? The movement of water will be outside the cell. So this cell membrane will start shrinking. The contents will start moving away from the cell wall. Cell wall is as it is, but the cell membrane will start shrinking. This process only happens in plants or in the organisms which are having cell wall, okay, because the contents will start shrinking. This process is called plasmolysis. Now in isotonic solution, what is happening? The amount of water which is going inside and amount of water which is going outside is same. So the cell just loosens up, okay, the cell membrane and cell wall. That is why this situation is called flaccid cell. Next, hypotonic solution. Here the water will enter inside and the cell is going to swell. So pressure is created in these cell membrane and cell wall. That is why this cell is called as turgid cell. Next important concept is that osmosis occurs only in living cells. Okay, the dead cells cannot perform osmosis. How we can prove this? You can take some rio leaves, it is a plant, and you can boil it for few minutes. Now boiling, it will kill the cells, okay. Now these rio leaves, you just put it on a slide and put a strong sugar solution on it. Now this sugar solution will act as hypertonic solution. Yes, so what should happen? The rio leaf cells should shrink, but nothing will happen. Why? Because the cells are dead. So no plasmolysis will happen in hypertonic solution because rio leaves are boiled, the cells are dead, so osmosis cannot happen through dead cells. Now let us look at the importance of cell wall. See, cell wall first of all is very much important to provide strength to the plant or to the organism wherever it is present, and it helps the cell to withstand hypotonic solution. Let us see two examples over here carefully. This is a cell which contains only cell membrane. This is a cell which is containing cell membrane and a cell wall also. Okay. Now in this cell, when it is placed in hypotonic solution, what will happen? It will swell. And if this hypotonic solution, excess water is entering at one point, it will burst. Yes. But in case of cells where cell wall is present, what will happen? It will swell, definitely. In hypotonic solution, it will swell, but it will not burst. Why? Because if water keeps on entering, what will happen? There will be equal pressure against the swollen cell. Means cell wall will exert pressure and cell membrane also will exert pressure. So there is equal and opposite reaction going on here. So here the cell will become turgid, means in a pressurized state, but it will not burst because the pressure is equal from both the sides. So what this means, that such cells can withstand greater changes in the surrounding medium than animal cells, because animal cells, they do not have cell wall. So the cells which contain cell walls, they can survive in conditions where you can say stress conditions. Like here, if excessive hypotonic solution is there, the plant cell will be able to survive because it will not burst, but animal cell will burst. Next very important concept is that if you want to observe any cell under microscope, how you will do? See, first of all, we will take the specimen and we will stain it. We can use different stains. For example, if we want to stain an area which is rich in starch, we can use iodine. For plant cells, we use safranine. And for animal cells, we use methylene blue. Now, why we use these different stains? Because different regions are made up of different chemical compositions. Okay, so they will stain with different dyes. Alright, so that is why some regions will take up more stain, they will appear darker. Some will take less stain, they will appear lighter. So if you want to observe cheek cells, what you will use? You will use methylene blue because it reacts with the cheek cell nucleus as well as the cell membrane. So this is the cheek cell. Here you can see the nucleus very clearly and the cell membrane also very clearly. Now cheek cells, how you can observe? You can just take one toothpick and scrape inside your cheek. So some mucus layer will be there on the toothpick. That layer you can just put it on a glass slide, okay, and then you put methylene blue, put a cover slip and observe it under microscope. You will be able to observe such oval cells and very clear nucleus you will be able to see. Now coming to the structure of nucleus. Nucleus is a very important part of the cell. You can say it is the brain of the cell. So it is a round structure which is containing two membranes, you can see, and there are pores also. So this membrane of nucleus can be called as nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. The pores which are present, why these are present? So that there is exchange of material from nucleus and other parts of the cell. So nuclear pore is present. Then the pink colored region is the cytoplasm of nucleus. Because it is the cytoplasm of nucleus, it is called as nucleoplasm. There is another structure which is present inside nucleus, darkly stained. It is called as nucleolus. This nucleolus contains RNA and proteins. Alright. Now with the nucleus, there is this structure which we will study in the next lecture, which is called as endoplasmic reticulum. So it is present in continuity with the nucleus. Then there is another structure which is present, which is called as chromatin. These thread-like structures are called chromatin. Now what this chromatin contains? It contains DNA. DNA is deoxyribose nucleic acid, and it is the genetic material of the cell. Let us look at it. The functions of nucleus: it contains genetic information, means all the genetic hereditary material which is transferred from one organism to another, that is DNA, deoxyribose nucleic acid. Now this DNA, suppose this is DNA, it contains certain functional regions, and these functional regions are called as genes. What are genes? These are the functional segments of DNA which will code for a certain characteristic. For example, this portion is coding for hair color, this for eye color, etc., etc. So the functional segments are referred to as genes. Another important thing, whatever biochemical activities are taking place in the cell, that is being controlled by the nucleus. Then nucleus also plays a central role in reproduction, because the nucleus has to divide during reproduction. These are the very important functions of nucleus. Now we had discussed that there is chromatin material, thread-like structure which is made up of DNA, yes. But when the cell has to divide, can it divide with these thread-like structures? How it will divide? So the cell has designed a process in which this chromatin will start forming condensed structures which are called as chromosomes. So chromatin is the thread-like structure and chromosomes are condensed structures. Okay, so both are made up of DNA and proteins, but only structural difference is there, and when the cell is about to divide, it will form this chromosome so that it can divide properly. Now on the basis of what type of nucleus is present, there can be two types of cell. Let us look at these two types of cells: prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Prokaryon, pro means primitive, karyon means nucleus. Eukaryon, eu means advanced, karyon means nucleus. So organisms containing primitive nucleus are called prokaryotic cells, and organisms containing cells which are having advanced nucleus are called eukaryotic cells. Now what is this advanced and primitive? See, in prokaryotic cells only this chromatin structure is present and no nuclear membrane is there. But in eukaryotic cell, as we have looked at the nucleus, that was the nucleus of eukaryotic cell. So in prokaryotes, we cannot call it a nucleus because no nuclear membrane is present. We call it as nucleoid. Okay. So it is the main differences of the nucleus. Let us look at some other important differences. That is the size of cell. Prokaryotes are generally 0.2 to 2 micrometer in diameter, and eukaryotic cells are typically 10 to 100 micrometer in diameter. 1 micrometer actually is equal to 10 raised to the power minus 6 meters. So that is how small a cell is. Prokaryote, a cell like bacteria and archaebacteria. Eukaryotic are animals and plants. So in prokaryotes we can say nucleus is absent but this nucleoid is present, and in eukaryotes the nucleus is present. Then the cell organelles we will discuss in the next lecture. It contains membranes in eukaryotic cell, but such are absent in prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell only contains ribosomes. Okay, ribosomes are smaller here and here it is larger. So another important difference is that the cell division here takes place by binary fission, here through mitosis, that is splitting of one cell into two. Okay. Then the number of chromosomes, prokaryotes contain single chromosome and eukaryotic cell contains more than one chromosome. So the main differences in prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell which you need to remember is their size. Examples: nucleus, membrane bound organelles are present or not, ribosomes, and the number of chromosomes. Alright, so again the take home message over here is prokaryote means primitive nucleus containing nucleoid, means no nuclear membrane is present, but eukaryotic cell means proper nucleus is present with nuclear pores and nuclear membrane.